Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 2026-0406. Today, we're diving into some pivotal developments from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. We begin in Washington, where a new ProPublica investigation is raising red flags about how the U.S. federal government is adopting artificial intelligence. The report, titled "The Federal Government is Rushing Toward AI," our reporting offers three cautionary tales, draws direct parallels to the government's earlier shift to cloud computing, and warns that history may be repeating itself. One of the central concerns is pricing. Under recent White House negotiated deals, agencies can access AI tools for as little as 42 cents to $1 per use. While that sounds cost effective, ProPublica warns that deeply discounted pricing can create long term vendor lock in. Once agencies build workflows, procurement pipelines, and internal processes around a specific AI provider, switching becomes operationally and financially painful. The investigation also revisits the Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program, or FedRAMP. During the government's move to cloud, FedRAMP faced staffing shortages that limited its ability to rigorously vet services. ProPublica points to the example of Microsoft's GCC high cloud environment, noting that oversight constraints enabled risky approvals in the past. The article also references Microsoft's $150 million security commitment, underscoring how reactive spending often follows systemic gaps. Another structural issue: third-party assessors paid by the very vendors they evaluate. That financial arrangement creates potential conflicts of interest, especially when agencies are handling sensitive federal data. The report's recommendations are practical and urgent. Agencies should monitor AI usage closely, budget for rising long-term costs, and strengthen the independence and resourcing of oversight bodies. For technical leaders working in or with the public sector, this is a clear signal. Procurement strategy, auditability, and exit planning must be part of AI adoption from day one. Next, a major security development from the private sector. Anthropic has accidentally released the full source code for Claude Code. According to reporting from the Register, more than 512,000 lines of code were publicly exposed on March 31, 2026. This isn't a minor snippet or documentation leak. It's the internal implementation of Claude Code itself. Security researchers and developers have already begun examining the repository, surfacing concerns about exposed dependencies, potential vulnerabilities, and intellectual property risks. From a security operations perspective, the implications are immediate. Anthropic now faces urgent audits, credential rotation, and patch cycles. Downstream, forks and derivative tooling could propagate vulnerabilities or embed insecure patterns. On the other hand, researchers can now reproduce certain behaviors and build tooling around the exposed implementation, accelerating both defensive and offensive experimentation. For enterprises integrating Claude Code into internal systems, this is a reminder to revisit threat models. When a foundational AI tool's internals become public, assumptions about obscurity evaporate. The focus must shift to robust isolation, monitoring, and rapid patch management. Now let's zoom out to the infrastructure layer powering all of this intelligence. CNBC is reporting that the AI data center boom is beginning to stress test insurers as private capital floods into the sector. McKinsey estimates that global spending on AI data centers could reach $7 trillion by 2030. Individual deals are already staggering. Industry transactions routinely exceed $10 billion, and the largest so far is a $40 billion consortium purchase that includes NVIDIA and Microsoft. One of the more novel developments is an $8.5 billion GPU-backed loan to CoreWeave. Structuring debt around GPU assets introduces new credit and litigation risks. If hardware values fluctuate or become obsolete faster than expected, lenders and insurers could face exposure that traditional underwriting models weren't designed to handle. Insurers are also grappling with concentration risk. Multi-billion-dollar campuses packed with high-density GPU racks create correlated exposure across fire, power, cyber, and operational risks. According to the report, bespoke underwriting and advisory structures are becoming the norm. For AI practitioners, this financial layer matters. If insurers tighten capacity or raise premiums, the cost of scaling compute rises. And as financing structures grow more opaque, including off-balance sheet debt, systemic risk increases. The AI stack is no longer just technical, it's deeply financialized. Staying on the research frontier, a new preprint on ArcSieve introduces ViraHinter, a dual-modal artificial intelligence framework for predicting virus host protein-protein interactions. Led by Weichang Bai and colleagues, ViraHinter combines structure generation with ESM-derived sequence embeddings. In benchmarks on pathogenic coronaviruses and influenza A, ViraHinter reportedly outperforms AlphaFold 3 and Rose-Tite-Fold 2 variants. That's a significant claim, given how dominant those models have been in structural biology workflows. Beyond raw performance, the framework identified 33 shared host factors across viruses, offering potential targets for broad-spectrum antiviral therapies. If validated through peer review and wet lab follow-up, this approach could meaningfully accelerate early-stage drug discovery and pandemic preparedness. This is a reminder that while generative AI dominates headlines, deep learning continues to transform core scientific pipelines. Now, for a few other key updates in our lightning round. Google DeepMind researchers have published a March 2026 SSRN paper identifying what they call AI agent traps. The paper defines 6 classes of adversarial environments, including content injection, semantic manipulation, and systemic traps, designed to exploit autonomous agents interacting with the web. The warning is clear. Agents managing cloud services or financial transactions could be manipulated through malicious web content. Security teams are urged to build agent-aware defenses and validation layers into web parsing pipelines. At the Harvard John A. Paulson School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, researchers have introduced a PsiTrust framework in Proceedings of the IEEE. The system assigns numerical trust scores between 0 and 1 among connected robots and vehicles. Using onboard sensor cross-checking and signal analysis, the framework was validated in robot experiments with simulated attackers. The goal is resilient multi-agent coordination in cyber-physical systems, from drone fleets to autonomous cars. Hyundai Motor Group has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Korea Development Bank, Industrial Bank of Korea, and the Export-Import Bank of Korea to advance a 9 trillion won, or $5.9 billion, development of the Samangjum Reclaimed Area. The plan allocates 5.8 trillion won to an AI data center, alongside investments in robotics, water electrolysis, and solar power. Phased investments begin in 2027, signaling a long-term industrial commitment to AI-powered mobility infrastructure. In distributed infrastructure news, Asprofin Bank is financing WOW Global Technologies' rollout of nanocenters across 59 countries. These ultra-compact, high-density data hubs use prefabricated modular assemblies, liquid cooling, and incorporate post-quantum and zero-trust security architectures. The pitch: lower latency, improved data sovereignty, and energy efficiency compared to hyperscale facilities. On the capital markets front, OpenAI is reportedly preparing for a NASDAQ IPO as early as the fourth quarter of 2026, targeting a valuation of up to $1 trillion. The company has reached $25 billion in annualized revenue and 900 million weekly users as of February 2026, but projects multi-year losses driven by heavy compute spending. Public markets will scrutinize growth durability, margins, and enterprise adoption metrics closely. Finally, Reuters previews subdued fourth-quarter results for major Indian IT firms. 7 brokerages forecast roughly 10% year-on-year revenue and profit growth, driven largely by a weaker rupee rather than strong underlying demand. Investors will focus on constant currency growth and fiscal 2027 guidance, especially as AI uncertainty and slower discretionary spending lengthen deal cycles. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.